Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video might be a bit controversial, seeing as I will be talking about 5 disappointing books that their sequels redeemed. It's not very common that you see sequels that are actually better than the first book, hence why I only have 5. I only remember reading these specific ones anyway. So I have 5 books that were just very disappointing, and then I decided to give them or their series another shot. So I read the sequel and I was pleasantly surprised. So let's get into the books. The first disappointing book I have to show you is Three Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake. This book made it onto my worst books of 2016 list. I absolutely hated this book when I read it. I hated the outrageous insta-love. I hated that a character cheated on his girlfriend. I hated the fact that nothing was really explained when it came to the whole queens, princesses, whatever, having to kill their sister in order to become the queen. Like, it just didn't make any sense. It didn't seem like the book was edited correctly. There were plot holes, there were just so many things missing, and I just really did not like this book at all. The main thing was that insta-love. I griped about it in my my worst books of 2016 video. The guy literally met the girl on one page and the very next page they have sex and are in love. And I just hated it. I really, really hated this book. It was just so disappointing. I wasn't even sure if I was going to continue on with the series. I just didn't think it was going to be worth it, but I decided to give the series another shot, so I decided to pick up the sequel, which is One Dark Throne by Kendar Blake. This is the second book, and I believe there's currently 3 books out, and I think the 4th one is coming out soon. This one definitely redeemed Three Dark Crowns for me. I loved the action. I loved the relationships between the 3 potential queens, the 3 sisters. I think things were explained a bit more. I still hate that guy character because he cheated, and I just don't like cheaters. So I still hate him, but you're not gonna love every character in a book, am I right? So there wasn't any more of that crazy insta-love, besides the fact that he was still kind of hung up on both the girls. But besides that, I did really, really enjoy this one way more, and I will definitely continue on now with the series. I still need to get the 3rd book, which is Two Dark Reigns, and then the 4th one when it comes out. But I definitely enjoyed this one. I love the fantasy aspect, and I'm excited and happy that I decided to give it another shot. The next disappointing book I have to talk about is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I know. Guys, I know people are obsessed with this series. I definitely fell into that whole hype surrounding this when it first came out. And when I read it, I just was like, I don't get it. I don't get the hype. I just thought it was a very cliche story. I thought the characters were, everyday characters that I read. I didn't think there was anything special about this series. I just didn't enjoy this book. It's not that I hated this book. Unlike Three Dark Crowns, which was a 1-2 star read for me. This one was still a solid 3 stars, which is good. However, it did not live up to the hype, so therefore it disappointed me. And I feel like I shouldn't go into books now knowing how much hype is surrounding it, because I feel like I'll just continuously be disappointed. However, for this one, it definitely happened. I was disappointed. I thought I wasn't going to read the 2nd book when it came out, because I thought it was just one of those, I have other fantasy books that I could be reading that are original, and I just didn't enjoy it. So I wasn't gonna pick up the sequel, and then I decided to. Clearly, that's what this video is about. So I picked up The Wicked King by Holly Black, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I love the characters. I love the really kind of enemies to lovers vibe that's going on between Jude and Carden. And I definitely think that there was more plot to this book. I know people will say that The Cruel Prince had plenty of plot, but I think this one kind of showed it a bit more, and in a better way. So it definitely redeemed The Cruel Prince for me, and I'm excited for the third book to come out, Queen of Nothing. That's what the title is, Queen of Nothing. And this one definitely ended on a point where I'm interested and excited for the next book, whereas The Cruel Prince just, like, you know, didn't end on, like, it was nothing. I didn't want to read this one, and then I decided to, and I'm glad I did, because it was definitely way better, and now I want to continue the series. The next disappointing book is another 3-star read, so it's not like I hated it, it was just disappointing for what I had heard about it, and it is Legend by Marie Lu. This is the first book in the Legend trilogy. I think it's just the Legend trilogy. This one I read years ago. So I read it a long time ago. It was definitely a 3-star read. It's like a post-apocalyptic kind of dystopian book. During the time of dystopian books, I just didn't think this one could hold its own. And so when I gave it a 3 stars, I was still kind of just disappointed, but I had bought the box set of No, I think somebody gifted me the box set. I actually don't remember, but I had the other 2 books in the trilogy, so although this one just wasn't really my thing and didn't really hold its own in the dystopian kind of genre at the time, I did decide to continue on with the series. I actually binge read it, so I read this one and the second one and the third one back to back to back. And that usually never happens. So this one was still fresh in my mind when I decided to pick up the second book. The second book is Prodigy by Marie Lu, and the third book is Champion. Now, this one's kind of odd because the first one, Legend, I gave 3 stars. Prodigy was definitely better, and I gave it 4 stars. And then Champion just blew me away, and I gave it 5 stars. So it's kind of odd that they progressively got better. I don't think that usually happens, and I'm not used to that happening. So I'm definitely glad I continued to read the series. I don't think I would have picked this one up if I hadn't had it. It just, at the time, I was just so burnt out from dystopian books that when I just didn't enjoy Legend, I don't think I would have picked up the second one. However, I did, and I'm glad I did, because Champion was just, Prodigy was good, but then Champion, the third one, was just 10 times better, and I remember it being just such a great 5-star read for me, and such a great end to a trilogy. The next book I have to talk about kind of follows the same line of what happened with the Legend trilogy for me, so the books just progressively got better. The first one being Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. If you've been following me for a while now, you'll know that I really have a love-hate relationship with Cassandra Clare. I definitely feel like her Mortal Instruments series had gone on for far too long. Anyway, this is about the Infernal Devices trilogy that I heard was 10 times better, so I decided to pick it up. And reading Clockwork Angel, it just reminded me of, you know, City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, the first 3. The ones that I did enjoy. So I did enjoy this one, in a sense. However, when I was reading it, I was just like, why are people saying the Infernal Devices is better than Mortal Instruments? Because I just thought it was the same old, just set in a different time. Did have better characters. I do like Will, Jem, and Tessa in this one, so the characters were better, but the whole story I was just like, it's the same. So I wasn't really gripped by the story because I thought it was just the same old, and then people began talking about how great Clockwork Princess is. So Clockwork Princess is the third book in this trilogy. So obviously to get to the third book, I had to read the second book. So I read Clockwork Prince followed by Clockwork Princess. And Clockwork Prince, I definitely thought was better. It was a good middle book. It wasn't like it was middle book syndrome at all. So it was definitely better than Clockwork Angel for many reasons that I won't get into too much because of spoilers. But then Clockwork Princess, guys. This book, I believe, made it onto my favorite books of 2016. I loved this book. It was such a great end to a trilogy, and it also had so many, like, I was probably cried maybe 5 times while reading this book. And it just had so much emotion, so much depth to it that I was like, why couldn't Cassandra Clare write her other books like this one? Because this one was just like phenomenal. And I would read it again. I don't know if I'd read the entire trilogy again, but I would read this one again. So definitely the fact that each book got better as it went along definitely helped with my reading of it. And Clockwork Princess, I was glad I wasn't disappointed by the hype, because clearly from my other books I was disappointed by the hype for the original books. But luckily, sequels were better, and it redeemed the entire series for me. And then the final book I have to talk about is again a scenario where each book got better and the third one was the best one, so that's great. So the book is actually Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. So this book is a young adult fantasy that people were / still are obsessed with, and I remember just being very intrigued by the story and wanted to pick it up. And when I read it, just like Legend and Cruel Prince, I just thought it was a very kind of unoriginal kind of idea, which is kind of harsh too to say that, because I know people work hard and authors work hard to get their work out there and their ideas like their idea. However, I felt like this was something that I've read 1,000 times before, and the characters just weren't really gripping me at first. Like, I wasn't really attached to anyone right away, and I just, thought this was just an okay book. But this book was going to be a 6-book series, so I did want to give it another shot to see if any of the other books were better. So I decided to continue on with the second book, which was / is Rebel Spring. So this one I think was still kind of the same for me as Fallen Kingdoms, slightly better but still kind of meh, So I was just like, oh no, these books, maybe I should just give up. But at the time, I had already bought the third book, which might have been my mistake if I didn't enjoy the third book. But I did enjoy the third book, and I honestly think it's the best of the 3 that I've read so far. There's 6. I own the other 6, so I'm excited to see where the series goes now, because this one, Gathering of Darkness, just blew me away. This one made it onto my favorite books of, was it 2016? I feel like all of these are 2016. I love this one so much. The characters definitely developed in an amazing way for me, and I feel like the characters will continue to develop. I have grown attached to more of the characters. I definitely feel like I want to continue on with the series now. So thank you for being a good book, and thank you to all of these for having amazing sequels for me to want to continue on with the series. So there you have it, everyone. Those were 5 disappointing books that their sequels redeemed. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts on any of these books or any other books that you might have felt the same way about them or their series in general. Also, if you like this video, please let me know if you would like to see the opposite video, because I know there are far more books / series where the last book was just complete crap compared to the first or second or third or any of those books where they were amazing and then the ending of the series was just disappointing. So let me know if you want to see that video, because honestly, I might even just film that video anyway, because honestly, I have plenty of those books to share with you. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun YouTube stuff, and I will see you all next time. Bye!